'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling liver RHAPUp's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like the Rock cause I'm driving the Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party. Moolah Ric Flair, showing out like Bianca, Belair, Best podcast, flush it in the air, Roman Reigns and we win it, don't care, No cap. Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling liver RHAPUp's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like the Rock cause I'm driving the Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Wrestling with RHAPUp podcast. I'm your host, Mari Forth, and with me, as always, my co-host, my tag team partner, the Lash legend to my Jakara Jackson, Mr. Matt Scott. Matt, how are you doing?
Woo! Happy to be here. Happy to be on the mic. Just like Lash Legend, but can't even say her name. Lash Legends. Anytime that I'm on the mic with you, Mari, is an honor, a gift, a privilege, an extreme event of sorts, and I love it. So thank you, Mari, for this. I hope you appreciate my sensual tones today.
I don't, but that's what happens when two of the baddest like link up. You know what I'm saying? It's like link up, you become a power team. And I'm referencing Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson in a tag team match against Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley yesterday on NXT
Level Up. Yes, best match of the week. Definitely saw it. Yes, we love them.
Yes, you love to see it. You love
Mari,
to see it.
Mari, yes. How's it going over there? How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. It's been a minute, but we're back, right? Like,
yeah, back with the jump off. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
So let's get into a little bit of news, and then we have a guest today, like we normally do. So let's first get into sending like warm, positive, healing vibes to Natty.
Could I just say, Mari?
Yes, what?
You sent me this tweet, but I think I might have also seen it somewhere, just like a picture of Natty, and I'm not gonna. I know this is a video podcast that you can watch. I know, but it's just like people don't need to see that. It just didn't look great. I am working on pulling up the picture, though, by the way. So maybe I'm not being that sensitive. But you sent me this picture, and I had no clue what happened. So pull it up in a second. You'll give the backstory, but basically, there's a picture of her in a hospital bed with a bloody face, and I don't know.
Natty had to get her nose repaired. She broke her nose on SmackDown. What was it? The week that whatever week we weren't here. Shayna Baszler caught her with a knee to the face, and it broke her nose. So Natty said she's all good though. She's healing up, and she said it's back to being straight. I think she said. So that's why we're just sending positive vibes, healing vibes, recovery vibes out to Natty, and hope everything goes well.
By the way, Mari, just realized in the context of wrestling how funny the term is for like healing up your face. It's like you could use that in it could be like a double meaning.
I see.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying there. So let's move on, since I'm assuming you didn't find it.
If you know, you know. I did, but then it was like you have to log into Twitter, and then I'm not logged in right now, so it's like, dude, we're good.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. We're moving on, but you could find it on Natty's Twitter at Nat by Nature, and she actually posted like a more updated, less traumatic. I mean, I'll look. See, you could also see I'm not logged in right now, but there she is. Blood, not great. Dislocated shoulder. Peace sign. There we go.
Dislocated shoulder. I didn't know.
Nose. Same thing.
Oh, I was like,
what? And yes, she's healing up. Good for her. I will also say about Natty that I think that it was in the last. It was a day after that she mentioned Bob, her personal assistant, tweeting for her, which is like my favorite thing. We know that Natty doesn't. I mean, even if she had a personal assistant, it's not Bob, and Bob's not tweeting for her.
Yes.
She's ridiculous.
So we did take a week off. We were, for those who know, we were recovering from our RHAP
Sure, that's exactly why we took off.
live.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
hopefully you saw us. We went to RHAP live on November 2nd, the Survivor event here in DC. We had lots of fun, met all of you like listeners and patrons. So had such a great time. Love meeting the listeners. And we decided to just keep the ball rolling. Let us, get some Z's in. Crown Jewel was last week. We have iffy vibes when it comes to Crown Jewel. We've openly discussed it on the podcast here. It's like we still do not agree with the contracting with Saudi Arabia, but we also see like the benefits. I like the one thing about Crown Jewel that I do enjoy is seeing their audience like love our wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like a weird feeling.
Yeah, you know what? It's especially weird because I think we have. I like that point you're making because with any place, any place where the government regime is involved in very controversial things, it's easy to forget about the people who are involved. And actually, I was talking with someone just last week about like North Korea and work he was doing with like folks there that's really focused not on the government and reform, but like liberation for the people, which people everywhere need that. And so I'm not saying that WWE is actually making a positive impact or actually liberating people. I am a little bit tired of propaganda Titus O'Neil showing up and constantly whatever it is, whether it's Vince McMahon and his departure or Saudi Arabia just being the voice that is, he'll say whatever they need to come out of his mouth. That's a whole other conversation.
Very interesting.
But I do appreciate what you're saying about the fans enjoying it. And I just wish that they maybe like tone down the promoting how they're making
the propaganda. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I completely agree. Because one of the things once I was watching this like the next day and all that, like this show, like if you go from this show, look at this show and go back to like the very first Saudi show, it's like it feels like it's like night and day.
I mean, it really is.
Yeah, when it comes to like the crowd reactions and all of that. Like I don't know the inner workings of what's going on over there, but they said on SmackDown that this was the most viewed Crown Jewel event in history, double the amount of viewers from the last one. Yeah. And I will say the crowd was like really good. I'm not gonna lie. Like I thought they did a good job, like, chanting for the wrestlers that they liked. There was lots of back and forth. I think good crowds can make decent shows better. Like I like when the shows just move.
I agree.
Well,
I love it. And I'm like, I did not like this show, but mostly and it's funny because I was all, even the Crown Jewel name messes with me. But like, I did actually really like the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view earlier in the year. I think because I saw Lita and like Becky Lynch, and I love that match. I love the women's Elimination Chamber match, all that stuff. So like, I love the women's action. Like that's the thing I appreciate about these shows. And Bianca
and we got
and
two women's matches on here. Yeah, okay, yeah.
And we also had the other Damage Control match with the with Asuka and Alexa. I wasn't saying unfortunately, but just Asuka and Alexa losing the championships that they had for about a week to back to Damage Control, which is interesting. So we'll talk about that more and more as we go along. Yeah,
I think I hate to admit it, but the Logan Paul Roman Reigns stuff was actually very good, which of course we knew it would be, but it was good. I will get on here and I don't agree with a whole bunch of things, but I did really like the Logan Paul Roman match. I thought it was built like perfectly.
Yeah.
And I thought like the people coming out, it's always weird when you're coming out to save somebody and your music has to hit and you have to do like the entrance. Like that's always very weird. But for some reason this like worked for me.
So goofy.
Right. Like they did it 3 times too.
Well, no, I wish it's like I always love that. Like, like especially I think the best but funniest entrance in this context is we'll have to find a reason. There's always a reason to mention her. Sasha Banks with the little dancing, because she always gets in the dancing, but then she'll always run out and do her thing. And you have to appreciate some good choreography with some wrestlers.
Or like when Rhea has to do the stop.
yeah. She's like, okay.
So I think that is always like hilarious, but for some reason it worked here, and I loved it. And we cannot like. Did you see the cell phone footage of like
course
Logan?
I did.
Oh my
God,
it was everywhere.
I will say I was a little annoyed by that specifically when I saw it, because it's like, dude, okay, so he does the flying elbow drop from the top rope,
crossbody.
Or like a frog splash or something. But he does it onto Roman through the announce table, of course, like lands it successfully. It's a beautiful move. But the only thing that bothered me about that, because I did think it was awesome that he held up his phone, and it was like the most viewed clip of 2022 for WWE, so that's huge. And speaks to like having these special features and celebrities involved. But he was holding his phone when he landed.
It was right. So
I just wanted to drop the phone.
As you're watching it, right? Like when I was watching him do it, I was like, there's no way he recorded anything on that phone, because it's looking like he's just like this, and then he jumped. I'm like, how did he could not have gotten a good shot? And then when they show the shot, I was like, geez, he is literally a professional selfie taker. Like, that's how you know he's a professional selfie taker who has clearly done this one too many times, because I was actually okay with him keeping the phone through the fall. Like, I was like, he's just done this so many times, honestly, that he can do all of that. It was so interesting. So I will give props and kudos to Logan here.
I'll go with it. He shot his shot. Good job, Mr. Paul. One of the Pauls. I will say, he did a pretty good job with that. And I feel like he gets a good amount of hate, which is deserved for a lot of reasons outside of wrestling. But in wrestling, I also feel like people really do receive him pretty
Very
well. And
I agree.
He did have some injuries coming out of this match, which just, I think he tore his MCL and some other things. And so
he tore his MCL, ACL, and he ruptured his meniscus, I think it was. So
not the meniscus.
He did something to the meniscus as well. So I forgot. I thank you, Matt, for bringing that up. Healing vibes to Logan Paul as well. I'm sure once he's all healed up, they'll bring him back again, because I'm pretty sure they're like, oh, I know why the views were doubled because of him. I think that's what they'll take away from that. But
you know what? Good for them. Good for him. Happy stuff. I feel like this was a really good match to put on that show. And, there are people who don't watch and don't tune in. And so I think it's okay to do stuff that's a little bit outside of the regular flow of what WWE is doing, which, sell your tickets, make your problematic money, WWE. Good for you.
Right. I mean, they're locked into a 10-year contract. I think we're what,
4 years I think
into 10. So here we are, and there it is. So definitely email us, tweet at us, let us know what you thought about Crown Jewel. So you can send any long form questions, comments to wrestling@robhasawebsite.com. Send over your emails. Yeah.
And you know what? Send us an email. Whoever sends us the next email, I'll send you something.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that means, but don't worry. Jesus. Include your address, and I will
include your address.
Yes. And let me know what you want too, because we don't have merch to give away or anything like that. But I have I could send a Post-it note or something, or like $1 maybe.
Yes.
Bribery. Send us emails.
Not bribery.
wrestling@robhasawebsite.com. Yes.
So you can also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling RHAPUp on Twitter. That's at Wrestling RHAPUP on Twitter. Use hashtag Wrestling RHAPUp to join the conversation. Also, you can join our unofficial official Facebook group. The Job Has a Squadcast group. So just you can DM us and we can get you into the group. We love the group over there. Shout out to everybody at the Job Has a Squadcast group. That's where we mind all of our questions and we interact with the listeners. We love it over there. We truly do. And who knows? We might be over there a little bit more depending on what happens with Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Also,
sad times.
Very sad times. Any time is a good time to become a patron for RHAP. You can go to www.patreon.com/RHAP to become a RHAP patron. But this is a great time because it's Survivor time. You're getting extra bonus content, exclusive podcasts, access to the patron Discord and Facebook groups. So go ahead, go become a patron. Tell them the Wrestling RHAPup sent you, and join this amazing community. Please also subscribe to our podcast feed by going to robhasawebsite.com/wrestling feed to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also watch us. Hopefully you're like watching us right here, right now on the YouTube by going to YouTube, the Rob Has a podcast YouTube page and search Wrestling RHAPup. Thank you for everybody who sent us some really good ratings and reviews. We've had one that we haven't read, so let me read it real quick. It's a little long.
We've been waiting.
But it's okay.
On purpose.
Exactly. So we got great for newcomers. So it says Matt and Mari introduced me to the world of pro wrestling when they started this podcast, and I'm so happy to be a weekly listener.
Okay, Mari and Matt, but okay, we'll keep going.
Whatever. They break down the major news and updates in wrestling enough for newcomers to get an understanding of what's happening, but they also cater to more involved fans by covering a range of updates from WWE, AEW, and sometimes some of the indies promotions. They have a fun banter each week, often with some very entertaining guests about the sometimes ridiculous storylines going on, but they also make sure to touch upon the backstory of both the characters and the social and cultural impact and meaning the storylines have as well.
Oh my God.
I know, it's such a great review, right? So I appreciate them for continuously educating me. This podcast is now one of the main ways I followed wrestling for the past year or so, and I can't leave out that the new podcast theme song always gets me excited and makes me want to dance as I listen. Shout out to Isaiah 8-Ball Bangers for our theme song. Thanks, Matt and Mari, for your hard work and dedication to this podcast. Thank you so much. That was from
what was the user?
WS Kitties 93. So
yes, thank you so much, WS Kitties 93, for your support, for your love, and again, leave us those reviews, subscribe, and do all the things. We really appreciate it, and we'll read it eventually on the podcast.
Yes. All right. So I think that is it for the housekeeping.
That's our housekeeping. What do we do now? I don't know what, Mari, you're in charge.
It's time to introduce our wonderful guest who's been waiting in the wings.
Waiting in the wings, in the VIP room, in the green room, if you will, with the green M&Ms. We'll have to find out if he's the green M&M person or what else is on his rider. But you know what? Let me just go ahead and get ready to introduce him. I know that he's probably drinking his juice, getting ready, making sure those vocal cords are ready right before we dive in. So let me just go ahead and do this. Making his way to the podcast, hailing from your earphones and mine, or I was gonna say North Carolina, but like whatever. He's a dragon slayer, a bandit, a play cousin, not good but necessary, too sweet to be sour, feeling his power. He's a Jedi level geek, a teacher, a Dungeon and Dragon extraordinaire. Please welcome Solomon Missouri.
I was going to Roman Reigns' finger.
Yes, we got you. I got you. We the ones.
We the ones.
Yes.
You the one. And you're
ones.
here on the Wrestling RHAPup.
I'm feeling very oozy this morning.
Yeah. You got your Usi juice.
Got my Usi juice.
Usi juice.
Solomon, it's so great to have you back. I mean, we love having Twitter's, you're my Twitter pastor. I tell you this all the time. But we just love having you here to hear your takes about wrestling and WWE. And the last time we were here, let us know. The last time you were here, I think the regime change hadn't started. Actually, I think this might be your first Triple H going over it with us. Yeah.
No, I think that last time I was here, it was actually way before investigations with Vince had like come down the pipe. And so they had like
figuring that out.
Yeah, they had like a whole bunch of talents and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah.
So Solomon, what have you been up to? Are you enjoying the new product now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the new product is awesome. I was a big fan of what Triple H was doing in the black and yellow brand of NXT.
Yes.
And so his booking always made sense. He pulled from the greatest wrestlers, whether they be indie or, people that they were like cultivating up or as I like to say, working up in their system. And so they would I was actually watching NXT, but was not watching Monday Night Raw.
Wow.
Yeah, makes sense.
We love that.
And so now I'm watching SmackDown. And if I can catch it on Mondays, I'll watch Raw as well. Raw is still 3 hours is still
a lot. Yeah. No, I completely get that. I was just telling James like yesterday when we were watching SmackDown, I was like, oh my God, I looked down at my phone. I was like, SmackDown is almost over. Like SmackDown feels like it flies while like Raw drags. Like
we're thankful.
It's so weird. Yeah, exactly.
We are thankful.
Yeah, because if you really it makes no sense at all. It really doesn't make much sense at all. But I do like that we're not at a place where automatically, because it's 3 hours, Raw is it's not the A brand anymore. I don't know if there's like officially an A brand right now, but I'm glad that we got away from the A brand, B brand talk with Raw and then SmackDown following it. So I'm with you.
Yeah. And I think the good thing is I think the new creative direction is helping Raw. I think just 3 hours just might be too much. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think that debate of 3 hours being a lot might be the 3 hours. I
understand the rationale behind a 3 hour show, from like a financial standpoint. But from a storytelling standpoint, it is really difficult to create 5 hours worth of live scripted television each week. And so eventually you run into the idea or the reality that you're going to kind of run out of story because you're spinning them out so quickly.
Exactly. I completely agree with that. Yeah. And yeah, I agree. It's like I think they're not doing such a bad job at connecting things throughout the night. So let's kind of get into this first story. I think this is perfect example of what we're talking about here. So the US title scene right now is just in flux, like complete flux. So Seth freaking Rollins is the US champion. He's been the US champion for about 2 weeks now. I think last week he did an open challenge. I'm not sure what his alignment is right now, because he definitely was heel Seth, but I was kind of getting some tweener vibes here. It feels like they're kind of starting to steer the ship into people liking him. Did we get this vibe, Matt?
I think by the end of this night, yes, Seth. Here's the thing about all of this. Like, who's to say that the whole breakdown of faces and heels is still the most relevant? Because I feel like it's a little bit funkier now than it has been in the past. But yeah, I really felt like by the end of the night, Seth is I think is he a face? Is he a tweener? He's closer to a face than he was to start the night.
Yes. Exactly. Yes. Great point.
I think just people maybe WWE recognizes how much people love him and just go with it rather than fighting it,
Yeah.
I think that one mistakes that WWE has in booking is trying to staunchly define a person as a face or a heel. Like the advent of the anti-hero has actually facilitated that you don't necessarily need to be a baby face kind of, face or a villain type of heel.
Right.
You could just be a protagonist or an antagonist, the person who's trying to advance the story or the person who's trying to prevent the story from being advanced. That's more of an effective storytelling like tool versus face heel suggests that like I have to give this person virtue in order for them to press the story forward.
Yeah.
They can, like, Seth Rollins can still be Seth freaking Rollins and still do to advance the story forward as a protagonist versus a face.
I agree. I think that's exactly what we saw here, because Seth is talking about, like, possibly doing another open challenge. We get Mustafa Ali, like, him and Seth going back and forth. And if you were looking at between Mustafa and Seth, I'm thinking Mustafa. For me, we all know I love Mustafa Ali. He's the face here. He's on the jumbo screen talking to Seth, and then all of a sudden Bobby Lashley just comes out of nowhere and just like starts beats the snot out of Ali for 2 seconds. And now Bobby Lashley is yelling at the screen like, Seth, I'm coming for you. And it's like, okay, now we saw the dynamics instantly change right then and there, because Bobby is seeming like the antagonist here, and Seth is like kind of like, oh snap.
I mean, the other piece of it too is like all night, and like, and I like the framing of like, let's get away from faces and heel. I mean, it's important to kind of pay attention, and we know even from some of what we've seen from sources like Fightful and Fightful Select on Patreon, like they do apparently still have internal rosters of here are the faces, here are the heels. Like that's a thing. But I mean, this was an interesting story all night because Seth just wanted to fight. Like he just wanted his open challenge. And then there was the Judgment Day kind of coming out and interrupting, and he got away from that. There was like Mustafa Ali who was kind of wanting it. There was Lashley who was wanting it. And we'll kind of get into that. But I just feel like everyone decided, I don't know what's in the water this week, but like everyone wanted that US championship, which is really fascinating.
It's like smelling the blood, right? Because Roman's not on Raw. Nobody wants to mess with Roman and the Usos. They much rather try their luck with Seth Rollins. So they're like, I'm going to go after one championship or at the very least. So the Bobby, and then I also like that you can also kind of just pick whatever side you want to, because I remember when Bobby Lashley was minding his own business and was cost the US title by Brock Lesnar, and that's how Seth got it. So I'm like, I'm with Bobby. Go get your title back.
But I will say, like, even back when that happened, I remember talking about what would happen, and like we figured that Crown Jewel was coming up, of course, with Lashley versus Lesnar, and then I remember thinking, okay, but what happens after Crown Jewel? Because you have like Ali, Rollins, Lashley in the mix, and you had I figured Lashley would end up back with the US title, but I kind of wondered, like, what does that do for Mustafa Ali? And so, like, maybe he's clearly not out of the mix, which is nice. Like, they didn't just completely forget about him. I don't know if we talked about this, Mari, but do they have a history of, like, pushing him or, like, doing things with like, Ali leading into Crown Jewel or around Crown Jewel and then cut? You might have mentioned this before.
Yeah, I think I talked about it last week when we were doing our Crown Jewel.
Whenever that was.
Yeah, because was he on the card?
Probably not.
No.
So maybe they're I guess,
So that's what they normally do. They do normally.
Regime. Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon's been gone. They
normally push him, and then like once it's done, he's done. But he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't even on the card.
And Mansoor wasn't on the card either. Like they used to just pop him in here too.
Was Sami Zayn on the card?
So weird. No, never. Sami is never on the card.
I was about to say, so Sami, there's usually I know that people who like have Muslim or Islamic background, they usually don't participate in Crown Jewel at all. So
every time.
Yeah, Sammy's like firmly against it, even
Yeah,
like just philosophically and all.
Yeah. Every time Mustafa's been on, what he does is he donates his his earnings to certain organizations. So that's what he was doing. So either way, Bobby Lashley manhandles Mustafa. A lot of people were calling this a burial. I don't think so. I think it furthered the whole Bobby is mad. Bobby was at Crown Jewel. He beat the snot out of Brock Lesnar from bell to bell, but Brock Lesnar like outsmarted him and ended up winning the match. I don't know if I like that outcome, but it's whatever. It's just showing like a rampaging Bobby Lashley. And we even get that in when Seth Rollins, he comes out, he beats up Seth Rollins more. And then we get Austin Theory.
What is this man's problem?
Austin Theory decides he wants to cash in his Money in the Bank on Seth Rollins and the US title. And he gets in like 2 or 3 of his finishers, and Seth kicks out of his finishers. And then when it finally looks like he might have done Seth in, Bobby Lashley comes back out, beats up Austin Theory to the point where Austin Theory can't gets counted out and can't get back into the ring. So he loses his Money in the Bank. He does not win the US title. If anybody got buried in this situation, it might have been Austin Theory. Solomon, what were your thoughts on this failed cash-in? I mean, people were talking about it on Twitter. This was a hot topic once Raw went off.
Yeah, it was one of those situations whereby they had booked themselves into a corner. And with the change of creative regime, they were not able to actually fulfill or see out the vision that Vince had for Austin Theory. Let me say this. I think that Vince saw a little bit of Cena on Theory and wanted to put the rocket on his back.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he does not have Cena charisma. Like,
there it is.
What people failed to like realize is when Cena was coming out as like I think it was like the protege or the cyborg.
Yeah, the prototype.
Prototype. Yeah, prototype.
Yeah, a prototype. Like, he was already a very charismatic type of individual. I think that Vince saw like similar body types and said, you know, this is probably something that, you know, I'll be able to advance with Theory, you know, Hecka Young, so forth and so on. And I still see, you know, great potential within Austin Theory. He's got something, but I think that he needs a lot more development. I think that an NXT run would have helped solidify more of an NXT run.
Yeah,
because I had kind of a run with the family,
which I liked. I actually liked that run of his.
No, I liked it.
Yeah, the way him in the way.
Yeah, but I don't think that they allowed him to kind of spread his wings on his own, and so he doesn't really have any character developed. And so when it came to this cash in, like, this is like literally the work. Look at him on the ground. Oh my God.
He just was laying there.
He's like a little baby.
Hopefully you're watching us on YouTube. We have a picture of Austin Theory.
He's sleeping so well. It's night, little baby. It's night. For trunks. Anyway, so effectively, you know, it was the worst cash in history because, like, we're expecting you to actually get an opportunity to fight for a belt, and he didn't. So it's just it further leading to this idea of ineptitude. Now, if this is a story whereby he goes to like the bottom of the, you know, low, and he has to build himself back up, all that kind of stuff. Is this the confidence? Fine.
That's right.
But he's having a lot of crisis right now, so that's all I can say.
No, I'm with you. And I feel like it works for him, like with his character. He's like, he doesn't bring a lot of self-awareness as a character. He's not known for his brains or for his strategy. And I feel like that's where like everybody who's a wrestler is like, okay, I'm going to be the wrestler who's not only the person who could beat everybody, but then I'll be the one who's like clever and is able to figure out. It's like, no. We need the one who's just like brings the muscles and has the briefcase once in a while.
Himbo.
I wasn't gonna say it, but I was thinking a himbo as I referred to, and that's his thing.
That was his thing in the way, and that's what I like. I'm not a fan of Austin Theory, but this happened before, right? He came up to the main roster.
Yeah.
Flopped as a disciple of Seth. We forgot that he was a disciple of Seth, right?
I like to block that out.
He came back to NXT. He was in the way with Johnny. That was the funniest he was in his whole entire career. He basically played a space-brained himbo in the way. He was constantly getting abducted by Dexter Lumis. It was very funny. And then they called him back up and they gave him this weird, cocky gimmick. And I think it works for some people. We famously had Rob on our podcast. Rob and Chappelle were Austin Theory fans. But like Solomon said, they really booked themselves in a corner, and I think they've been doing this with the Money in the Bank briefcase for a while now. I think they are putting the briefcase on people to maybe cap a storyline going into Money in the Bank, but aren't thinking of what to do once they have the briefcase. I've constantly said I didn't like how they had Liv cash in that night and all of that, and now we're a few months removed and she's already, her briefcase gone, her title's gone, you know what I'm saying? Like, and maybe there was a thought process when Austin won because of McMahon being there, and now they're just like, no, we're scrapping it. I don't know, but it feels like the cash-ins and the Money in the Bank for years now have not been properly planned, and I feel like that's why we haven't had a great cash-in moment in years, like literal years.
100%. I mean, this is an interesting cash-in moment, I will say, but I will also point out, like, Vince McMahon, I also and I wish I could reference something specific with this, but I also feel like a lot of what how he's approached things is like, well, we'll figure it out. Like, we'll get there. We'll get somewhere. So I think your point's right, Mari, but I also think that was a lot of Vince McMahon booking, like, let's create this moment as opposed to telling a broader story. Like the moment of like, because everyone has their moment at the top of the ladder. Like Liv had that, but beyond that, with so many people, Otis is another example.
That's like, exactly where I was going
to go. It flops. And,
well, there is a narrative problem with the Money in the Bank briefcase at whole. And the narrative problem is, if you are a person that is not thought of as a heel, you can't effectively like frame your way to the title using the briefcase, because the motive or the idea of the briefcase is to take advantage of the champion at their lowest point. Like, you can't really even build heat for, like, build energy for yourself, like trying to use the money. Like, for example, that's why it didn't work with Big E.
I like Big E's cash in personally.
I don't like that he announced it on Twitter that day, though. Like, it was literally Twitter 5 hours before. He was like, I'm cashing it in. They could have done it better. They could have found a way to like build the. It is. I hear your point though, Solomon, too, because it doesn't work as well on a baby, or it hasn't. It hasn't worked as well on baby faces. But I could see a world where, like, maybe, for instance, you have the underdog who wins it, but you have a babyface underdog who wins it, but then maybe you have like multiple heel champions, like a heel champ on SmackDown, a heel champ on Raw, a heel champ on NXT, and it's like, let me tease. Let me tease. Like, who am I gonna do it for? And then I don't know. I just could see like that being the story where they're just kind of like, everyone's paranoid that this person will cash in on them. I mean, I don't know if the payoff's gonna be that great. So, kind of to your point, it is better when it is a heel, a dastardly heel.
Yeah, Seth had probably one of the best cash in.
Oh yeah, I don't think that's ever going to be hands down topped at this point.
Yeah,
see, I mean, it works better as a heel. It's because it's a villain gimmick.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think also like it also contributed to the story, but because another cash in that I think I love the cash in was Sheamus cashing in on Roman after Roman had climbed the top, got his first championship, and then Sheamus immediately cashes in on him and takes the title away. So I think it just has to make like narrative sense, and even if you're building towards a moment, build towards a moment for that. Like, I don't know. I don't know if they're like, okay, if we can't get a great moment out of a cash in, let's go for a like a lower. I mean, it did what it had to do because people are talking about it, right?
I think that this cash in by Austin Theory was well done, in the sense that we're talking about it. It stands out. It seemed horrible and ridiculous. It fits the character that it was horrible and ridiculous. So now it's like, what do they do out of it? Does Theory somehow, you know, I don't know, like back his way into an opportunity? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like it just feel like it's going out sad too, though. But I guess another reason like the cash-ins haven't been that great is because the WWE has a clear, like, they're giving Roman the dominant champion style reign, and it's lasted for 2 years now. So it's like, what can you really do? Like 2.5 years, whatever. So maybe once this historic reign is over, maybe we'll get back to the days of like really fun historic cash-ins and stuff like that. But you know, it just sucks. It sucks that I think a tool that can be used effectively in storytelling and building the next star just hasn't been recently.
Sad times.
Yeah. On in other news,
what a transition.
I know. Cedric Alexander and Baron Corbin were on had a match against Baron Corbin, right, on TV. Yeah. And then Shelton Benjamin had a match against Austin Theory on TV. So the reason this is very notable is, first off, commentary has been so much better since Triple H took over, mostly because they're allowed to reference history. There's so much continuity now on like the announce table. I love that. Like, thank you for telling me the history of all of these people and reminding me, because Lord knows sometimes I do forget. But Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, I'm pretty sure they both lost. However, they were bigged up that whole time. Like JBL was out there with Baron Corbin, and JBL again, but he did a great job, like talking about how good Cedric Alexander was, and talking about how he's a former title holder. Same with Shelton Benjamin. So a lot of people think we're getting Hurt Business back. With Lashley's new fiery, he's definitely a heel, or his new motivations. Cedric and Shelton getting some screen time and being bigged up even in losses. It's feeling like a Hurt Business reunion, and that's what a lot of speculation was online, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I don't think they should have been broken up to begin with, so very interesting that it probably won't include MVP. I don't know what show Omis is on, because
SmackDown.
Is he on SmackDown? He didn't. He didn't come out this week.
I don't care. I don't think anyone does. I mean, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, Mari.
Right.
He did get slammed,
and he lost.
By, what's his name?
He lost to Braun Strowman at
that's his name. Yeah.
On Crown Jewel. So, what do we think, Solomon? Do you want the Hurt Business to come back?
Heck yes.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
I especially for Cedric Alexander.
Oh,
I think that he is perennially underrated as far as like an in-ring talent. And I mean, everybody knows Shelton is like slept on, but the Hurt Business had an opportunity to be like a movement. And I would actually like to see maybe next year the Hurt Business be like that group of individuals that actually tears apart the bloodline.
Oh my!
Not the we the ones.
Oh my! The ones, we the ones, and the twos.
I don't know. I still don't know how the bloodline is looking impenetrable. It looks like they're gonna have to take themselves out at this point. But we'll definitely get to that. But
no, The Rock could do it himself. Just bottoms.
Debatable.
We'll talk about it.
Honestly. Go for it. Go for it. No, I just love the idea of the self implosion, and maybe we get like Rikishi comes in, he's upset. Maybe The Rock comes in. Like, let's just bring out the whole lineage. I want the whole bloodline taking them out. Nia Jax could even show up as a play cousin and take out like Sammy, maybe.
So we'll keep an eye on this. Hopefully, we'll get some hurt business. Business is booming back. We'll see. And just a reminder, this is the highlights of the week in wrestling. All the highlights can be found in a very handy playlist in the show notes and show descriptions, either on the YouTube channel or in wherever you get your podcast. Let's move on to the women, okay?
Yeah, Mari, and you know what? As we go on to the women, before we get there, because it's going to be really good, I feel like Mari, should we take a break?
Let's take a break.
Oh my God, I never been able to queue up a break. Wait, Mari, you do that. Hold on, wait, can I do it?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, everyone, we're going to take a break, but we'll be back in a little bit to talk about the women. All right, we're back.
Okay. So the women's War Games match is coming together. So like we talked about, Damage Control lost their titles like the Raw before it was definitely the Raw before Crown Jewel. Right? They lost it to Alexa and Asuka. Then at Crown Jewel, they won it back with the help of Nikki Cross. So Bianca, Alexa, Asuka come out to the ring. They talk about how they're sick and tired of Damage Control. Damage Control comes out. Honestly, the funniest thing about this exchange was Asuka and Io speaking in Japanese to each other in the promo. Oh my gosh. Yes, I loved it.
Mar, you're fluent in Japanese. Could you tell us what they said?
They said a lot of funny stuff, but mostly Asuka calling Io stupid.
Yeah, that was a huge part of it, and also a lot of it you'll see on social media, some of the translations whipping around where basically their exchange was like, oh, you could speak Japanese, I could speak Japanese too, blah, 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 blah. So they were just going back. It was hilarious.
It was so good.
Yes, the stupid remarks, we love those.
Yeah, like I liked it in the moment, even when I didn't know what they were saying. I was like, yes, like I was like, come on, mother tongue, like come on, speak your language, man. Like I loved it, and it really made me like I will be so excited when they get like a full length like one-on-one match. Like bring the Joshi to Raw. I'm all here for it. And when the translation dropped on social media like later that the next day or something like that, I loved it even more. I was like, they have to do this more. But yeah, they, like Matt said, it was just them talking, saying they can both speak Japanese. Asuka calling Io stupid, and then Io just in English just calling her a bitch. I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, this is good. I like this. Solomon, we got a question from our Facebook group from Kristen J in the Facebook group. She said, how do you feel about Damage Control losing the tag belts just to win them back a few days later? What was the purpose of that?
Stupid.
No, baka, baka, baka.
Baka, baka, baka.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that was a poor booking decision. I understand why they did it, but I also don't think that it was a good idea to do it. That's something that they could have done like another way, or that's what happens when you run out of creative. So that
I'm so confused by it. Look, keep going.
Keep going, Solomon. If you
to change the titles, then you give people a reason for them dropping the belts. And you don't do it just to have them to get the belts back at Crown Jewel so you can pop the Crown Jewel crown. That doesn't make any sense.
So to me, like, I agree, but I also feel like it did a few things with the story, because a lot of people complained when Damage Control lost the belts on Raw. They're like, why did Alexa and Asuka beat Damage Control? I was like, and I saw really good arguments. If we remember correctly, Damage Control, Alexa and Asuka have been going back for months. Remember, Damage Control storyline injured Asuka and Alexa so that they completely missed out on what was it, Extreme Rules or something like that, whatever. Like, they were off TV for a few weeks. So I think what happened was, because they were off TV for a few weeks and then they came back and they came back and they won, it kind of fell out of nowhere. But I think they should have reminded us how much of a blood feud it was before they took the belt off of Damage Control. And once they took the belt off of Damage Control, once the baby faces came back, they redeemed themselves, they closed out that storyline by winning the championships. You then go to Crown Jewel and Nikki Cross helping the heels defeat the baby faces, move this War Games thing along. So I truly don't feel that bad about it. Honestly, it doesn't feel to me like Sasha and Charlotte trading wins back and forth just to pad the resume, even though they're great, a great series of matches, one of my favorite times in wrestling, but it was still just back and forth. This I did feel like had some story ramifications, closing one story, progressing another one. I didn't mind. I truly don't mind. Again, people forget, like in the Attitude Era, people were dropping belts one day, picking them up the next day. It was the same thing, I'm you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. I don't mind short reigns. I truly don't mind short reigns. If it's handled in a really well done way. So I had no problem with it. Honestly, I think I like the belts better on Damage Control, personally.
Yeah. Same.
So I was like, cool,
Yeah, it's
just me. I get why it's polarizing.
Yeah, no, it's strange. And I think it's like the type of thing that people see and they're like scratching their heads, because every time we see, I mean, it is a little bit of like not to overuse this word, but it is, I think, like something is triggered for people when they do see someone win a championship and then lose it so quickly, these super short reigns. So I get that. Right. But then it is very interesting when you're like, okay, wait, they won the titles from this team and then they lost them back to that same team. So like Asuka and Alexa weren't transitional champions, which is the fascinating thing. But yeah, like it is, I don't know, very cool, very interesting to look at this. And I do like them better with the belts. I don't like Asuka and Alexa much as a team. And then
exactly,
they're doing this thing with Alexa still where
the Bray stuff.
Yes, it's weird to me that they're doing that, and I just want her in her own world doing her own thing, not mixed into this storyline with Damage Control.
And that's another reason why I think that's the biggest reason why I'm not too upset about it. It's because Alexa and Asuka to me are a team of convenience that I don't really think need the titles. And I don't think, like, I truly don't think they needed them to begin with. But if you're gonna put it on them and then take it off, I'd much rather that. So yeah, this Alexa stuff is very, very interesting because every time she is on the screen, we get a flash of the Bray Wyatt stuff. And I am very interested to see what happens. They are slow rolling the mess out of this. Cool. It's whatever. I'm fine with it,
Cut her out. Like, if you're Bianca, if you're Asuka, just get rid of Alexa because she is volatile, as you could tell. Now, nothing's blown up, but something will blow up, and you don't want to be around it. Like, hey, Lexi, maybe you just want to like stay home for a couple weeks while you
are you feeling
figure
okay?
Out, yeah, it just seems like things are a little off. But I could see a world though, Mari, where we do end up with like a 5-person situation where it's Bayley, Dakota. EO, Nikki Cross, and Alexa, because we did have the team of Alexa and Nikki Cross previously. I don't know what that has to do with Bray, but I just don't like watching Alexa now when you're like, something's off, something's gonna turn, and they're not even leaning into it like that much. So it's weird to talk about because it's like, will they even follow through with anything with her and Bray?
Let's talk about that a little bit. So, like you said, that is one half of the War Games team so far. It's Bayley, Dakota, EO, Nikki Cross. We get a thing like Damage Control talk about why they recruited Nikki Cross. She was lost, blah blah blah, whatever. So that's 4 of them. We confirmed last week, I think it was, or no, it's confirmed that it will be a 5-on-5 War Games match.
5-on-5.
Yeah, for both the women and the men. So Damage Control needs one more. And currently Bianca, Asuka, and Alexa need 2 more. Okay. Survivor Series is in Boston.
This math is hard. Oh wait, it's in Boston.
It's in Boston.
Bosstown.
So this is where we have to do the obligatory speculation of, is Sasha and Naomi coming back to be on Bianca's team in War Games? They need 2. Bianca's team has 2 more spots open.
I'm all about it.
I mean, oh, not boss glass and the chain.
You gotta have the boss. Look, honestly, I really don't want. I mean, I'm not asking for this. Like, I love the.
Yeah.
Sasha, just be happy I don't have my wig here. This is why you need to watch the video version of the podcast. But you know, like, the thing is, I do feel like if we're telling this story the right way, we would get those 5, the Alexa, Nikki, Damage Control. But then it leaves Bianca, Asuka, even if Naomi and Sasha, like, I'm trying to figure out how we get to the 5 on, I mean, really on either side. Like, how do we get to 5?
So for me, we haven't talked about Judgment Day coming up yet, but Judgment Day had some scenes, and in one of the scenes out there, with WWE, Triple H loves the little walk by scenes now. Bianca, as Judgment Day was walking away, Rhea somehow ended up walking by herself a little bit for like 2 steps, and there was Bianca, and they were in the same like shot there for a second. You heard the crowd erupt. You look at Bianca, give Rhea a look and laugh, and then walk off, and then you see Rhea kind of like smirking ish. So it can go either way in a sense. Like, I think if they're smart, I think that 5th spot goes to Rhea with on Bayley's team, because if I remember correctly, Dakota, Rhea, Io have all Bianca have all done War Games matches. I want to say they were in the first War Game matches in NXT. If not the first, they're at least in the second. I know all 4 of them participated in at least one of the War Games matches. So I think you put Rhea in with the other girls. Then you have a good match there. The problem is, and we'll get to it, she's tied up with Judgment Day and then the person who just premiered. So do we get I want to save it for when we talk to it. No. Do we get a new debut on Bianca's team? Because she also participated in a War Games match, if I remember correctly. And then we find one more. So
I'll give you this.
It's up in the air right now.
Let me give you this, because I appreciate you walking through that. I took off my boss watch sunglasses because I don't think Sasha's coming. But I do think maybe you're right. Like, Bayley, Io, Dakota, Rhea, Nikki Cross on one side is the 5. Then Alexa, Asuka, Bianca, the person we saw debut this week, opposite of Rhea, and Candice LeRae. I think Candice LeRae will be in there.
Yes, because
she was in the War Games, and she also has like some beef with Damage Control that is unsettled. So I feel like that will be the match.
Yes,
book it.
Book it, and if it's not Candice, Dana Brooke,
it will be Candice.
It should be Candice, but it could also be Dana Brooke, because people need to get pinned. Okay, I'll just use that as a segue. I think it'll be Candice, but let's segue into after we get from Damage Control why Nikki Cross was recruited. Nikki Cross goes out there to face Dana Brooke for the 24/7 championship, and we're reintroduced to old Nikki. I'm so glad, dear old Nikki, please come back. Thank you. I'm so glad you're back here, Nikki Cross. I am so excited about that. Like, she went ham on Dana Brooke. We got our sanity version of Nikki Cross. She wins the 24/7 championship and then proceeds to almost throw it into the garbage. And then we get confirmation that the 24/7 title is no more. Solomon, how are we feeling about all of this?
Thank God for Jesus. It was stupid, dumb. I've never seen more. Like Vince effectively tried to find a way to fill time, and never taken seriously. It was always a gimmick. It was always a gag. I'm glad it's done.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, I just appreciate that Dana Brooke just had that championship for about the better part of this year, just because it's very funny. Like the people who are in that division, like back in the day, we wouldn't have been surprised if they were just released randomly. And I liked that Dana Brooke had a championship, especially because on Twitter, they talk about whenever people are released, they're like, what? And Dana still has a job, which I just like, let's not go there.
Yeah.
But, I think that they did some fun stuff that maybe one day, like I would love if on YouTube, someone just memorializes the championship and puts together like an hour-long like edit of the best moments,
that
maybe
would
30 minutes.
cool.
But that would be cool because we haven't cared along the way. But there's a lot of like good character stuff. There was a wedding involved in the division at one point, like
which was funny.
Which was
like
funny.
Tamina.
But yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's how I feel. But I'm like, but it could go. It could go.
To me, the 24/7 title had like it had its like really like ups and downs. Like I honestly didn't mind. I love silliness in wrestling. That's what I said. Like sometimes we take wrestling way too seriously sometimes, and I'm okay with a little bit of silliness. I just want to point out Mike Edwards in a Facebook group said, "How do we feel about the not so subtle dropping of the 24/7 title?" And I'm not sad to see it go. I'm not. But I do miss the good times. Like I think when it first debuted and R-Truth had it, that was like the height of it. It was everything that we said could have been what could have been a 24/7 hardcore championship. Like I remember R-Truth was golfing and he was golfing and then all these dudes came and he had to escape on a golf course and we knew it on social media when he was like about to get on a jet in there, like a ref was standing there. Like I loved when we got an alert that the 24/7 championship was defended on social media because I think that was the perfect way to use it. I thought the skits were funny, but then just along the way, they tried to do different things. I remember there was one person who wanted to like bring glory to the 24/7 championship. I can't remember who it was.
Maybe Drew Gulak.
Was it Drew? Might been something like that. But like I think, and then once the women were able to win it, that was fun. But it just had no real direction there, and once you have no real direction, there's nothing you can really do. But I did think that it provided some very funny moments. But not needed, so it's okay.
It's okay. I agree. And just a shout out to Truth, who had I just saw this. I think it was either 53 or 56 reigns with the championship. So good for him. And I was gonna say a moment of silence, but this is a podcast, so we won't.
Like I when R-Truth had the belt, I remember those moments. You know what I'm saying? And if they had given the level of commitment that he had, like with other people who had it, then I think it could have been something really fun and really like with him and Carmella jumping on his back and them running out of the
Yoshi or whatever,
the arena. So. Yeah, it's sad. I just think they don't have the manpower, like the creative manpower, the creative willpower to do something with that division. So it's better that it's gone.
And
go for it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with like being funny in wrestling. I think there's all kinds of characters who do humor excellently. R-Truth is the prime example of doing humor like really well in a wrestling. But the problem that I had with the 24/7 title was the fact that they made it slapstickish and kind of quirky in a bad way.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, in effect, it never felt as if this was an like actual portrayal of us trying to be funny. it was us trying to like do fart jokes in the wrestling and it didn't work.
It was the wrestling equivalent of a fart joke to you.
Yeah,
it was.
and some people find
and this is where literally
hit, but you have to be high.
I'm not a big fan, but I would like I would like a super cut on put some emotional music behind something and put it on YouTube and give
like
us the highlights.
My heart will go on like
yeah. Like the Ric Flair retirement music or something like that where everyone's crying, right? Like that's what I want for the 24/7 championship, and I'm happy to be gone with it. But who knows, maybe we'll get like the hardcore title back. Maybe someone will smash up the 24/7 championship and that'll be the new hardcore title. Like, who knows? But I believe she missed the trash can with the belt when she threw it out.
Nikki Cross should take the 24/7 title and like keep it in a trash bag and just take it with her everywhere she goes.
Trash bag.
Beat people with the with the 24/7 title.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I would keep a championship if I won it. Like I would not throw that out.
And it was kind of weird how she threw it out too. It was weird.
And she missed the trash can, but whatever.
She did. Let's move on because we got to get to the bigger issues, the bigger problems, if you will. The OC tries to find an answer to their Rhea Ripley problem. This is what we referenced earlier. And like when I first watched this segment on Raw, I was like, okay, I'm happy about this, but also, does this make much sense? And then when I went back and I rewatched the clips, I was like, okay, no, I think this makes sense to me, right? So the OC confronts the Judgment Day. They talk about how basically like it's always been you 4 on us 3. We have to find a solution to the Rhea Ripley problem. We then get a reveal. But what I liked the second time is what I realized when they said we were looking for a solution to Rhea Ripley problem. We couldn't find one, but somebody found us. And I was like, oh, that I love. And we get a returning Mia Yim to beat up Rhea Ripley. I just
The one thing about this, the camera direction of this is horrible. Because I don't understand what happened outside of the ring to Rhea. She's just basically what we see. We hear like a loud noise, and then we see Rhea on the ground. Like maybe she got a Charlie horse, and Mia Yim standing over here with no weapons in hand or anything. So I mean, we can speculate, but I'm just like. I'm wondering what exactly happened. I'm gonna assume that Rhea was pushed into the ring post, but it felt like a little bit of an awkward moment for me.
They did.
That's it.
The head baddie in charge, Mia Yim, is back in WWE. I'm so happy. I love Mia. I'm so glad she came back. She got out a kendo stick, started whooping up on Rhea. The Judgment Day, and OC started going at it. OC stands strong, and again, I like their follow up because Mia and Rhea have history from NXT. If I believe, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Oh, I know. And I think this was great. It's like because also she wasn't in Impact with the Good Brothers too. But these are characters that had not really shared a screen together, so I really like their thought process of her wanting to help them out and not be like, oh yeah, like Mia is now part of the OC. Like no, like it doesn't make sense. But she wants to help them because she has a bone to pick with Rhea. Love that continuity.
Matt, it's just like Mia Yim's great. I think that. It is kind of funny that this is framed as a return for her. And I mean, it was a return and she was on the roster. I believe last year, even maybe she was even drafted in the draft. She didn't appear after that and she was released. But I just hope they do some good things with her.
Me too.
It is, I worry for her based on the track record of how they've used her so far. But she's a great performer, and we'll see where it goes.
I think Triple H has done a good job of trying to build the women's division because he rightfully sees that the women's division needs more backup. And I think they're now filling it out. I think that once we get into Rumble season, WrestleMania season, I'm hoping there will be a direction. I think right now they're trying to figure out who are the pieces that we have. Now that we have the pieces, we can then go into what we're going to be getting into. Solomon, what did you think about the return of Mia Yim?
One, I'm a huge fan of Mia Yim.
Huge fan, yeah.
Awesome. Anytime a person has any type of colored hair, huge fan.
Yeah.
I followed her work from from way back, so I'm really enjoy that. I appreciated the moves that she has taken when she was in like the previous faction with Mustafa Ali and all them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nah, that's not what she really needed to do, and they were gonna waste her time anyway. Sometimes the WWE just puts a woman in there because they feel like they just need a woman there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Weird. Also, Mia Yim is Keith Lee's greatest decision. Hands down.
Yeah.
Like top 2, and she ain't 2. I'm happy for her to finding a spot. This is a pretty good spot too. As Judgment Day is concerned. Rhea is a heat magnet, and she's going rocket on her back very, very soon. I can't wait to see what her and Bianca do. So yeah, this is a great move all around.
Yeah. I love this. And you know what? I'm just going to say, like, if we are seeing Shelton Benjamin get pushed, my favorite thing about Mia Yim and maybe about Shelton Benjamin right now is that they are just like best friends, but also bitter enemies if you look at social media. And, it's good to see people like, I know that he's happy she's back. I'm sure that she's happy to be there, of course. But I don't know. I just like those two on social media. I don't know where they became friends or how or what, but it's very, very cute on the Instagram.
They are hilarious.
He was like, how dare she come back?
And I love how Solomon pointed out Rhea is a huge heat magnet, and it's so good to have. Like I agree with the whole like you don't need like faces and heels and stuff like that, but when you get such a dastardly heel that people really want to see be brought down, all it does is elevate the face who's opposite them. You know what I'm saying? So this is a really, really good spot for Mia, because if people, I can't imagine that people did not like her, but this is a great spot to definitely help boost her her star. So I would love if Mia joins Bianca's team, and if we also, like Matt said, get Candice LeRae, that match, like if we get Bianca, Alexa, Asuka for Mia and Candice versus Damage Control. There's so many names.
Bianca, Alexa, Asuka, Mia, and Candice.
Candice, yes. Whatever. That was.
I'm just trying to follow along.
It's so many names, and then we get Damage Control, Bailey, Io, Dakota, Nikki, and Rhea. That's gonna be a barn burner. That is gonna be a barn burner, because at this point, like Bailey and Sasha and Naomi. I want Sasha to not come back until the Rumble, personally. Like, honestly, at this point, just wait till the Rumble.
Yeah, that'll be an awesome pop.
Yeah, exactly. So just wait until the Rumble. It's cool. It's whatever. If they come back sooner, sure, but I think that they could definitely pull off War Games without them. And I'm really feeling this Judgment Day. I like Judgment Day is like Rhea will always be a problem. Dominic Mysterio has so much heat. Solomon, what do you think about Dominic Mysterio?
Yeah. Okay, can I be honest?
You can.
Oh God, yep.
You could tell us.
We're here for you.
We won't judge. It's okay.
He's so bad. Not good. And I understand why inhabits that space or has that spot, but no. His work is not good in the ring.
Damn.
He's unconvincing character. I mean, even went to the place of if it's not for his proximity to Rhea, he actually has no charisma at all. As a matter of fact, he is a charisma black hole. He is a charismatic suck. Anything that's good around him actually goes into the depths of who he is, and he swallows all their charisma. It effectively evaporates. He is an energy vampire.
Ooh.
Like
Colin Robinson.
all that is good is removed when he is on the screen. Like the most
say it again.
The only time that I've actually been interested in his work on camera is with his dad and with Edge. Like and it was not even really him.
Yeah.
It was Ray telling Edge, please don't do this to my son. He's like your nephew. Like that was the most compelling story that Dominic Mysterio has had. Like I'm not a huge person when it comes to like body guys, as far as like having to be built or muscular or whatever. But Dominic Mysterio looks like a 11th grader.
Yes.
Like he just has like weird body parts and weird length to him. And I'm like, dude, you're like 7 feet tall. Like you stand next to your daddy, you make your father look like a child. All of this is very strange. He evokes very visceral feelings from me. I wish that that spot would have been taken by anyone else but him.
The funny thing is, I understand everything you said, and I think that's why it's working. Like he is getting nuclear heat. The moment that AJ Styles touched him to go into that Styles clash, the audience erupted. Like he gets some of the loudest reactions in Judgment Day, and again, it's probably closer to X-Pac heat than real heat, but if you can take X-Pac heat like The Rock did, like the New Day did, and turn it into that really good heel heat, I think you're onto something. Because again, the worst thing you can do is be boring and evoke nothing. So
yeah,
that's the worst thing you can do, is you can come out there and nobody cares. The fact that Dominic Mysterio makes Solomon Missouri react like this,
no,
I see it as a good thing. I see like as a good thing. And I think all of that, I think everything that you said works for him. Like the immaturity of the character, him not being able to really talk that much, the awkwardness that he has in his limbs. He's so young. He's still 20, I think it is. And he's talked about
how old is he?
How old is he? It does. Yeah, I'll look it up. But the funny thing to me is like we've always talked about it. Like he is 7 feet tall, and
you can't teach that.
Right. He's like 7 feet tall, but he was trained by his father, who's a scooge over 5 feet, to do luchador style wrestling. Like you are too tall for that, sir.
Okay, Mari. How old is he? How old is he?
He is
25?
Oh yeah, he's right. He's 25. Jesus. He looks like he's 13.
Wait. Yeah.
And the problem that he has is he's tall, but he's so small. He's like a waif of a man.
I love it.
And there's an interesting, like he has Vicky Guerrero heat.
Which is
like Chavo Guerrero heat.
No, like
no.
Like go away. Like I want to see you leave. If he was to be replaced right now with anyone like anybody else
I'm not disagreeing.
Track him.
What's the bald head dude's name that was in NXT that like chop people all the time? Arnie Lorcan.
Yeah, Oney Lorcan.
They could bring in Oney Lorcan, and I would rather see him in Judgment Day than Dominic Mysterio. Literally, Lorcan, Rey Mysterio's child, and I'll be fine with it. I'll be like, forget it. You know what? I'm just gonna go with it because I would rather see Oney Lorcan.
Yeah.
Oney you don't remember his name. Did you really?
I'd rather see him. And honestly, Oney Lorcan is exciting to watch in a match in the ring. He has a lot of intensity. Dominic Mysterio, Mysterio could be a broom, and you would be booing against that broom. The thing is, he was lucky. in the sense that Rey Mysterio is his father, or maybe Eddie Guerrero's his father. We don't know. The jury's out on that. Or maybe Rhea Ripley's his poppy. Who knows?
Yeah.
But he's surrounded by all these people, right? Where it's like, okay, we have Edge, the storyteller Edge. We even threw in Beth Phoenix there for a minute to help get that thing over. We had AJ Styles. We have all these amazing people surrounding him. Anyone could get over if you have all of those amazing performers surrounding you. But at the same time, it's not a broom. It is Dominic Mysterio. And there's something there.
But I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I think it's nuclear heat, but I think it's where it needs to be. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's good now. It's in a good place.
They're not pushing him out there to be by himself to drown. He is in this group who they need that heat.
He needs to drown.
He does not. He's so young. I think we're so used to like people coming onto the main roster like ready to go and you know having all that indie experience and stuff like that it gets lost that people can grow in front of your eyes. Like he debuted officially full-time 2 years ago. You know, he's finally we were talking about it for so long. He was in that tag team with Rey for I think too long for me, but now I'm seeing that I think it was good. I think he needs this. He needs this family built. He needs all of this around him because that's the only way he's going to get better. And I don't think that he's complete trash. I don't think he's complete trash. I think he can definitely grow into all of this. All it does is it just takes time and not being able and time and people being able to prop you up. So I don't think that they're acting. I think even better, they're actually acknowledging it. They're acknowledging him as like, oh, he's like a teenager who's in a relationship that they said that on commentary. He's like a teenager in a relationship that your parents don't approve of. They are playing into the naivete. They're playing into the immatureness of it. So it's not like he's this bad and they're presenting him like Austin Theory, like he's the next big thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, tell me we wouldn't be even more angry about that. So
this is sad. We've talked way too much about Dominic Mysterio, and that is my measure. That is my measure of Dominic.
I like it.
But I'm with you. I think he needs it. I'm just like, do we need it? And that's kind of the question. I don't know.
Let us know in the Facebook group or on Twitter.
Email us.
Let us know what you think about Dominic Mysterio.
If you email us about Dominic Mysterio, I will maybe virtually, because I want to save my stamps. I will draw a picture of Dominic Mysterio and just send it exclusively to you. It's like an NFT, except it'll be free. I'm not great at drawing.
I love this. I love this back and forth.
I'll do
okay. So yeah,
email us.
either way, the Judgment Day and the OC, they're still going strong. The introduction of Mia Yim, I think, is really good here. Rhea is still by far the standout. I mean, for me, I love her in Judgment Day. I think Judgment Day is really doing good. I think we've been talking about that. Like, I was surprised. I thought this group was going to go down in flames maybe like 2 months ago before she came back. If you think about it, it was when she was gone. I was like, this is gonna go down in flames.
And like it was only two people at
it was it was just Finn and Damien. So they've done a good come around. So it'll be interesting to see where they go from there. Maybe they'll get like the traditional like Survivor Series match if they feel like they're gonna do that this year. I don't know. All right, let's get into some funny stuff. Solomon, I want to know if this is funny haha to you or funny weird. We got Johnny Gargano exposes The Miz. Johnny Gargano does a tell-all interview on Raw.
This is actually pretty good.
I love this.
Good.
I don't know if you know, Solomon, but one of my other podcasts is a true crime podcast called Crime Scene, where we talk about like true crime documentaries and docuseries. This like WWE investigates 60-minute style ticking. Byron Saxton in the back. So funny, so hilarious. That was from the Halloween episode of Raw. Johnny Gargano doing a sit-down interview with Byron Saxton, talking about how The Miz basically paid Dexter Lumis to stalk him so he could update his celebrity profile. And Johnny Gargano himself doing the reenactments. I was cracking up. They nailed every crime scene docu series reenactment I've ever seen. The foggy lens, the bad acting with the bad hair. I don't care. This was funny to me. I think this is a great way to introduce people to Johnny Gargano because again, some people are not familiar with NXT. And as much as he was a stalwart and an underdog and a very serious character in some of the black and gold era, he honestly could also command a room with his comedy chops. And I think this storyline, this really amplifies the Miz and Dexter Lumis storyline for me as well. So I'll go to Matt first. Matt, what do you think about Johnny Gargano and the Miz storyline here?
You know what? I feel bad saying this, but I'm not a big Miz person. And I think it's because it's just all like, I know he's great. I know he's a great performer and a great contributor and a great representative of the brand, all the things. He just annoys me so much, which I guess is the point, but I just don't want to be annoyed sometimes. But other than that, I think that everything with Johnny Gargano is great. I think that The Miz is perfect on the opposite side of things. I do like the tie-in and the reference to the history that Gargano and Lumis have from NXT. And then, I mean, I like everything they're doing with Johnny in terms of the fact that, yes, he's Johnny Wrestling. He still wears shirts that say Johnny Wrestling. We know that he can wrestle. That's his thing. By the way, where's Ciampa? I wonder what we'll get there. We'll get there.
Is he injured?
Maybe we'll get there though with him and Johnny, I'm sure at some point together on the screen. But you know what? They're doing a great job leaning into the charisma and the character that Gargano has and the humor he could bring, and that's what they need to do. So I think they're doing what they need to do with him. People love it. Maybe it's not for me personally, but I could see how good it is. And
yeah. Tommaso Ciampa underwent hip surgery. Okay. Yeah, so he's not expected back this year.
But I think that's also, I mean, not it's wishing him a speedy recovery, but also from the Johnny perspective, he doesn't need to come in and be across from Ciampa. We'll get there. He just needs to show people who he is and establish himself to kind of the point that you made. Yeah.
Exactly. Solomon, thoughts on Johnny Miz, this storyline that Miz may have paid Johnny. Dexter, to stalk him and all that.
I don't know, man. Johnny Gargano is an amazing entertainer. I think that's why we were all so excited to see what he would do after NXT, which again is also one of the reasons why I was glad that he went back to the WWE. Although I thought he could have done great, anywhere he goes. I just think he's a talent. But this part of him is not something that we had opportunity to. Well, I can't really say that.
Yeah, I thought it was great in the way.
Yeah, when we were doing the way, I mean, we were privy to this type of interaction and engagement from him or whatever. So yeah, I just like that little quirky dude. That dude is
me too. Yeah.
Not a little quirky dude.
He knows it.
It's true. Oh, we love that.
Yeah, and so I also I think you have to introduce this to the main roster audience because Johnny is at his best when he is overcoming the odds and he has everybody behind him. He's really good at that physical storytelling in the ring of being the underdog and fighting up. But that doesn't always translate if you're going in cold. You know what I'm saying? It's like a little bit of foreplay. You warm the audience up, you give them the straight wrestling match, and it makes it all better, right? So I'm so happy to see Johnny here. And it honestly, guys, does this not make the Miz and Dexter Lumis feud better because now it makes sense? Because we barely covered it on the show because we were we don't know why this is happening. It's all funny and it's all really good between Dexter and Miz, but we have no idea why Dexter Lumis has it out for the Miz. So this giving that some sort of context and such so plausible too. I definitely believe Miz will do anything.
But the best part is I don't believe that they went into this with this plan at all.
I don't think so either.
So it's just amazing to see, even from that perspective, them connecting the dots. Like, oh, he planned that. He paid Dexter to choke him out in the. Which, I mean, some people do that. They do pay people for that. But you know, like, I mean, I'm just saying. So that's a whole other conversation.
That's a service.
Yeah, it is. It is a service. And, you know, it is kind of funny to think that Dexter went along with it, because I'm like, where does that leave him in relation to all of this?
Well, because remember, sorry, keep going.
No, I was going to say, it also seems like he didn't, like, the Miz didn't pay Dexter the other half of his choking money.
None of the money, apparently.
Oh, none of it. Okay. So,
right. Which, that Miz, you didn't pay him anything? I don't know.
You have so much money.
But right, remember Dexter lost that match where he had to leave WWE. So yeah, him and Miz had a match, or did they? Yeah, they had. It was a stipulation match. I couldn't remember. Maybe they didn't go through with the match, but the biggest thing was Dexter didn't have a job. I like them bringing in, like, using the fact that he was released as also a launching point here. So Dexter didn't have a job. That's why he agreed, you know, he needed the money. Now he doesn't have the money. Miz won that stipulation match that, you know, he had to leave WWE. So it's like Johnny is coming in to, like, no, like, I'm going to expose you. So hopefully that means they'll bring Dexter back. Maybe we'll get Johnny Gargano versus the Miz for Dexter Loomis's job or something like that, which is, again, so cool. I don't know. I don't think Dexter is injured, but let me just make sure.
We have seen him pop up. Like, he was somewhere back. He was in a segment a few weeks ago.
Dexter
backstage.
Yeah,
he popped up on Monday.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make. Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Oh yeah, he did at the end of the match.
At the end of the match. You're right.
Monday was a long time ago.
It was. It's so long. Oh my god. So yeah. So amazing. I like where they're going here. So let's do one more quick break and we'll wrap up the highlights of the week. All right. So let's get into real quickly into SmackDown a little bit. So SmackDown opens with the New Day versus the Usos for the longest reigning tag team championship record. Yeah. So the Usos, I don't even know what the dates are. It's so long, but the Usos were closing in on the Usos record date. The Usos made it a point. We talked about it before Crown Jewel, all that they wanted to stop them because, you know, Kofi and Woods were really emotional about it. They're like, this is all we have, like stuff like that. So the match that opened the show, it was really good because it's the Usos versus the New Day. It was long. It was like a third of the show, really. But I was actually really sad here that the Usos ended up beating the New Day and that the Usos will now be the longest reigning tag team champions. Do you think this was the right call, Solomon?
Yeah. I mean, for what they're going with as far as the bloodline is concerned, how you gonna be the ones if you ain't the ones?
That's true.
I don't know.
If you do the math, the ones have to be the ones.
The ones got to be the ones.
I agree. 1 = 1 in math.
I know. This would have
basic algebra.
Be the one.
This would have been the one where I wouldn't have minded the New Day taking the belts off of them for a week and then maybe put them back on. I just really wanted the New Days to keep that record because I thought I really loved their title reign and everything they did to become the longest reigning tag team champions. So it kind of sucks for them, but you know the Usos are just as good of a team. I thought maybe if they lost it could have kind of sped up the bloodline implosion thing, but I also thought maybe I was like, why is this opening the show? It should have closed the show. To me, that's what I was thinking when it opened it. I was like, what if they open the show? What if the Usos win and then some way, shape, or form they get them, like the New Day gets them to like do another match at the end of the show, and then the New Day wins there. That would have been cool.
Interesting.
Too.
Yeah,
like if the New Day won by like nefarious means at the beginning of the show, they convinced GM to do another one. That would have been fun. But I get it.
You know, I'm with you. I get it. And I mean, even going back to Raw this week, we did see there was a segment, a big promo battle really between the New Day and the Usos. And like, it just showed, it was a good reminder for me, at least, of how good the Usos are. Well, really how good the New Day is on the mics and with everything. And they were talking about like, we're first generation stars. Like we're not on everyone else's backs, our cousins, our, you know, nephews, nieces, grandfathers, all the things. Like we are literally doing this ourselves and paving our own way. And they've done that. And I think that this was, you know, looking back at this week, it was a nice way of kind of commemorating their legacy a little bit. Obviously, it's unfortunate that Big E is out, because it would have been interesting to have him even in the conversation, in the picture. But, you know, Mari, sometimes we have to keep moving forward, and maybe the future has a time when the New Day has the championships and could get the record back. And you know what? Like maybe the New Day could have the most overall like days holding the title one day. I don't know who's counting that record, but it is sad because, and I'm assuming this was kayfabe or whatever it was, but Woods tweeted something like, I gave it everything I had and I don't have anything left at like 9:30
That made me so sad.
I know, it is just sad because you're like, hopefully this is this is not outside of the character and you still feel motivated to do your job, but also we can see how demotivating it could feel when you're like, you gave so much and now we're kind of just moving on from that, you know?
Solomon?
They're missing, I think their story is that they're missing Big E.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah, and the last update we had from him was that he is healing, but it's slower than they had anticipated, from what I understand.
I mean, what they said initially about how quickly he'd heal. I mean, I know we of course talked about it, but I almost feel like my reaction probably was like, yeah, that sounds like it's a little bit too quick. Like they were talking about him being out for a very short amount of time. They might have even been talking about him not needing surgery at that point or something. So it was like, it was a little bit too optimistic for a neck injury. And I think we all want to be optimistic, but you just give him his time. Like, let him heal and he'll be back eventually. You know, it sounds like it, I'm sure. And we've seen a lot of neck injuries where people come back, even if it takes 9 or 10 years sometimes, or 5 years or whatever it might be. But I'm hopeful for him.
This wasn't like a chronic neck injury. It was a broken neck, you know. So once it heals, you're hoping that it, you know, everything's good and he can push on and soldier on. And then of course, you know, it's after Roman says he's gonna plan a celebration for the Usos at the end. They're feeling Usi, they're celebrating, but then the Brawling Brutes came out. And they're like, oh, Sheamus is back. For me, I'm sorry. I was like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not.
He was on his honeymoon, basically.
Right, cool.
But it was like for like a few weeks he was gone.
Right. No, I agree. I just was like, okay.
Yeah.
No,
sure. I'm with you. I agree.
And then McIntyre came out and I was like, oh, they're setting up for War Games. So it looks like we're getting exactly.
I haven't even thought about the men's War Games at all.
Exactly. Same. So I'm thinking it's gonna be the House of Bloodline. House of the Bloodline. It's gonna be Roman, Jay, Jimmy, Solo, and Sammy, I'm thinking, for the 5 versus.
Wait, Mari, who you just counted 5? Roman, Jimmy, Jay, Solo and Sammy. Okay.
Solo and Sammy.
Sorry, I wasn't counting Sammy.
Solo and Sammy. And then against the Brawling Brutes, Butch and Holland, Sheamus. And then Drew McIntyre came out to help because remember the Bloodline. I forgot the Bloodline had beef with him too because they got beef with everybody. So the Bloodline versus the United Kingdom.
Well, so they have
We need one more person.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I was like, wait, I can't. I'm counting 4. Yeah, who's the?
What were you saying, Solomon?
Yeah,
I'm trying to think about who the fifth person.
Yeah, same.
Right. I don't know.
I mean, it's not. It is interesting that with the Drew story, they moved past, or at least for now, they've moved past the Karrion Kross Scarlet thing.
There is also currently like the SmackDown World Cup where they had like I'm trying to bring up the bracket here where they had like superstars from around the world. They're competing so that whoever wins the World Cup gets that crown jewel cup that Braun had gotten a few years ago. And they'll also get a shot at the Intercontinental Championship that Gunther holds right now. So Santos Escobar won over Shinsuke Nakamura because, the numbers game. And then Braun Strowman beat Jinder Mahal. So maybe Shinsuke might be that 5th spot because the bloodline injured Shinsuke when Shinsuke left, right? I want to say that's what happened because Shinsuke just came back.
Yeah, the math isn't really mathing, and the thing that's confusing is that it's Drew and Sheamus on one side, which they're both kind of more equivalent to Roman. I don't know. I'm just like, who fits in naturally here, and no one fits in naturally.
I think it's Shinsuke because during the match, Shinsuke nailed his knee on a ring step with a Kinshasa that one of the Usos dodged. That was back in June.
Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, so I think, and he did have a the paramedics warned him, and they took him out of the match. So I think it could be Shinsuke that has that final spot.
I'll go with it. It makes sense. He's around. He's like also a big enough deal to include him in there. So, he makes sense in terms of. I don't know, Mari. We'll see what they do. I'm just like,
we'll see.
I can't speculate
we're
on
just
this
guessing
one.
At this point.
We can get so many different people too. Like, I'm like, would they have Gunther turn and like plug him in?
Gunther would make sense though.
Yeah. But Gunther on the face side. Him and Sheamus don't like each other like that, really.
Yeah, but that's why it works.
Yeah, you have to have the tension.
And really, again, this is why the thinking through something as face and heel doesn't work in this situation because the people that are actually pushing the story forward are
the ones.
True.
And individuals who are trying to prevent them from pushing the story forward are like
the twos,
Sheamus and the other people. And I call him Peter Dunne. Peter Dunne.
You know what? In this case, let me just throw in then maybe it's Karrion Kross who will be on the team, and then we have that tension between Karrion and Drew, and it's like, will they be able to? Can they coexist? The famous line.
That I would probably give that one more because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm looking back at the World Cup bracket here. I think the winner faces Gunther at Crown Jewel.
No, you mean Survivor Series.
Sorry, Jesus. I'm looking at it's just the Crown Jewel Cup, so I'm staring at it. They're yeah. Anyways, yes, at Survivor Series. So Gunther might be tied up. Maybe.
I think we're gonna
either way.
If I had to bet, I would put Kross in here.
My money's still on Shinsuke. So we have 2 weeks. So it's 2 weeks until Survivor Series is on the 26th. So we have plenty of time.
I'm gonna throw in one other name. Naomi could be good as the 5th. It could be like a Rhea situation
against the
her husband and family. Yes, it could work.
Oh, y'all not loyal at all.
That's him. That's all him.
I'm just saying, like, if Naomi does show up here, I would be really happy.
You're ridiculous. And then finally for SmackDown, we had a women's 6-pack challenge to determine the number 1 contender on SmackDown.
Sonya Deville, Liv Morgan, Raquel
Rodriguez, yeah. I still do that.
Xia Li, Lacey Evans, and Shotzi.
Yep.
Raquel Rodriguez now?
Yes. They just I think that's really disrespectful. And honestly,
I
think there needs to be a conversation.
I keep needing to call, like, I have to call her Raquel Gonzalez while I'm watching. Like, it just, I can't.
In NXT, she was Raquel Gonzalez.
Yes, she was.
And then they changed her name to Raquel Rodriguez?
Yeah, it doesn't feel right.
It feels
They could have even changed it to like Raquel Gonz.
What's her real name?
Her last name is Gonzalez, real name, but her first name is like something else, like
Reina.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like
that was her first.
No,
Reina Gonzalez.
Victoria Gonzalez. Now we're just
Victoria is her real name.
Yeah, Victoria is her real name.
Yeah,
so they got rid of her last name.
Even better.
Yeah, her
Vicky Gonzalez.
Her original name in WWE was Reina Gonzalez, and then they switched her over to Raquel Gonzalez. Now they switched her over to Raquel Rodriguez.
I just don't
more
like.
names than Diddy.
Yeah, I just want to put it out there because I think it every time. Don't love them just giving her like a different name like that. Like it just feels a little offensive.
Oh yeah, it's definitely offensive. It's on the line.
God, hopefully they don't change her name again to give her a different last name.
I mean, if this was a white wrestler, they would have named her something like Poison or Arrow or Spear or Destroyer of the Moon, something else. But to continually call her, like, give her additional deeply ethnic names for no.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I mean, her original gimmick was she was like she spoke like she went back and forth between English and Spanish. She called herself something chica.
A little racist.
Yeah.
But it's a little racism.
Yeah.
She used to wear her saddle pants.
Yeah.
Yeah. She did. The chaps.
She called herself like Texicana or something, I want to say. Because she is,
Texas,
I'm not
Mexican
about to
lineage and
exactly.
Okay, well, you know what? Just don't give her a random last name that fits in really well. But we can. But wait, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, there was a match.
Oh, there was a match. Yeah, and they went into the match saying like, oh, she's the favorite. Oh, like they should all gang up on Raquel. But Shotzi ended up winning by pinning Lacey Evans, which I thought was interesting. I don't know if I saw it coming. Unfortunately, there was a table spot that didn't go right for the women.
That table spot, Mari.
Yeah.
What were they going for?
Well, Raquel was supposed to fall back into the table.
Was she supposed to catch Liv? I don't know.
Clearly, they didn't know. So
either Raquel was supposed to catch.
Is only living once, boy. She is putting it on. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if the table was maybe not in the perfect position for it either.
Yeah, I feel like maybe there was a world where like we were gonna get Liv crossbodying Raquel, who had kind of like Sonya a little bit in a pile driver position-ish thing. Maybe all three of them were supposed to go through the table. Maybe two of them were, but then Sonya would have been. It makes no sense. But it is sad that they botched the spot.
So
we'll never
wait.
know. We're looking at the picture.
So you
though,
think?
by
So
the
you
way,
think Raquel was supposed to catch Liv and then throw Liv through the table?
No. I think she was supposed to catch her like someone catches like someone on any diving move. But she just didn't even catch her.
Like catch her with her body.
Yeah, like with her body.
Oh yeah. No,
catch her
she
like
completely.
Yeah, like catch her, not catch her, not kayfabe catch her.
Yeah, like truly. Why do they keep making Raquel do these strength spots?
They should have redone that spot. They should have redone that spot.
Well, this is the problem that the WWE women's division has. Okay. While they are good and they give their women the most time and they do the most as far as character development, they fail to realize that what's true for men is true for women. And that's every woman does not have to be slight. They don't have to be thin. They don't have to be short. They don't have to fit the stereotypical like portrayal of what a woman's body should be. So you need big women. Like you need tall women. You need who are like Piper Niven, or like you need thick women who like women that I can actually believe that can fight.
Yes.
I love Liv Morgan, literally. Like that's my dog. But I don't think she's a fighter. She's trying to prove that she's a fighter. But I don't see her, Liv Morgan walking down the street saying, you know what? She fights.
I don't know.
Piper Niven, Nia Jax, Tamina. Yeah, I believe they fight.
Yeah.
Do they also have multitudes and softness and all that kind of good stuff? Sure. But I believe that they'll hit somebody over the head with a ball.
I'm just saying, Liv Morgan is, as someone from New Jersey, Liv Morgan is from Jersey, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's curb stomped a few people or hit them with baseball bats. She definitely has a baseball bat in her trunk.
Look at that.
So I'm just letting you know.
That's fine. That's fair.
So that's not a fight, more like a beatdown. But I hear you. I hear you. I just want to give her the benefit of the doubt.
No, I mean, doing amazing work, but I think that's more of a reflection of the way that we envision body type. And when you actually look at the women in WWE, like all of them are like 5'3", 5'4",
exactly.
And then, what is a lady's name from Australia?
Emma.
No,
Emma.
Not Emma. The Judgment Day.
Rhea.
Ripley.
Yeah.
Rhea. I forget everybody's name. I'm sorry. So when you think about it, like Rhea Ripley looks huge. Like she's big. She's she's 5'7".
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, really? Her and Bianca are like the same height, right?
Wow.
Bianca is actually shorter.
Really?
Yeah. Bianca Belair is not tall at all, and it's because most of their division is so small that they look huge.
You know what?
So interesting.
But I think this is a good point. This is a good point or a great point on even the expectations of the women, because age is another factor I think is really interesting when thinking about who they bring back to return. I referenced it earlier in the podcast with the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view where it was Lita who was coming back, and she's not 50 yet, but still looks like the same age and was able to wrestle. So there's a lot maybe that they could switch up and rethink about who they have and why they have them. But I'm with you on that. That point.
That I am shocked. I really thought that Bianca and Rhea were
6 feet,
5'10" at least.
And
but they're both 5'7".
Yeah, they're both 5'7", and
wow,
it's tall for maybe somebody working in an office context. But when you live in a world where there are literally women athletes that are usually casually just 6 feet tall, you got to go get some of those.
Yeah,
and they do have some in NXT through the NIL program of the former college athletes, some 6 foot former volleyball players or former college athletes. So maybe we'll see that. But what's up?
So Raquel is 6 feet. They're saying Raquel is 6 feet. Maybe that's why they keep having her do these things. But I'm sorry, she tall and strong do not equate, because she is not, or something is happening.
Stronger than me.
She's not, but she's not hitting the directives. She is failing the assignment. She is leaving crumbs on the plate. Like I hate to say it, but we saw it in the Money in the Bank match. I think we saw it here. Like they keep giving her these like strong power move moments that she's just not hitting all of the time. It's not consistent for me. That's just me.
With you.
Someone looks like he disagrees.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, you know, it's not her fault.
But I agree. I agree with Solomon. They have a Nia Jax problem. They don't have a Nia Jax anymore. Like that. I completely agree. Like I don't know what Piper's doing. Oh, Piper could be one of those spots too.
I think we figured out the what's it
a good combination. Piper might take one
with
of those
Nikki
spots.
Cross, maybe.
Yeah, because her and Nikki were arguing the last time.
And it's weird because the only reason that Piper has not been featured more is because she has a belly, and I'm like, belly come with the meal. It's like it comes with the meal. You can't have like all of this like big. You can't have mass without belly. It's what fuels the mass. You need that. So yeah, come with the meal.
And she's talented too. Like she moves so well, but it's just like I'm with you. Yeah, it is sad. Maybe, and we'll see. Maybe Triple H feels
like all of the people on the World's Strongest Man contest. They're fat because fat fuels the muscle. No, but being fat and you're a wrestler.
It's good. Yeah,
like you can't if you're running against the person. Everyone on the defensive line is fat. That's why they're called the defensive line.
Exactly. And I think that I think
if there's no mass.
No, you make a good point. And I think that this is part of like back to the body type thing. It's like that's not a bad thing.
No,
like that's like a problem where I'm sure people even hear the term fat and they're like, that's a negative. But it's like, no, that's literally like a thing. We all have body fat on us.
Being stacked up is a blessing.
Being stacked up is a blessing. Put that on a t-shirt, Mari.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
No, I do agree. It's just unfortunate. And for people, we're talking about Piper Niven. Dewdrop is her WWE name
still
here
currently.
Yes. Yeah, because her and Bianca had those really great series of matches. So it's really a shame that she's been in like catering for a while now. So I think I would love to see her in War Games too. Doesn't matter. We'll find out soon. Biggest thing is Shotzi won here. Shotzi's going to fight Ronda Rousey. Shotzi Shotzi was talking backstage with Shayna. Shayna's like gung-ho into being like Ronda's hype woman at this point.
We love to see it because Ronda needs somebody.
We do. That like Ronda and Shayna are now like 80s style bullies. Like they're just like
they have been there, Mari. And actually Shayna is an 80s style
and she's
bully.
Good at it.
It's the Power Rangers, like Bulk and Skull, who were
just
like that was Nia and Shayna, but that is definitely Ronda and Shayna. Too,
yeah. At least I will give Nia and Shayna they had more charisma together, but
by far.
Yeah, I'm fine here. I'm fine. We'll see what.
Are you sure?
I'm fine.
I'm fine too.
Shotzi is next up to face the wrath of Ronda Rousey. So we'll see how. Hopefully we get a good match out of it. That's all. At this point, that's literally all I ask. Can we just get a good match?
No.
The bar is on the floor with a Ronda match. Any thoughts on Ronda, Solomon?
No. Oh.
No. She really doesn't do it for me. So I just
me neither.
Nobody.
Yeah.
You know what? There have to be some. Well, if you are a Ronda Rousey fan and you email us, I will draw a picture of Ronda Rousey and send to you. I'm like, what is free? And I have paper and I have a pen, and I will take 10 minutes to draw a picture and send it to you as an NFT.
Can you even draw?
I took a class in high school about 13 years ago.
Okay. Well, that's it for WWE. We're running out of time, but we would be remiss if we don't talk about that AEW's Full Gear pay-per-view will be happening next week. So November 19th, 2022. We're hoping we can bring you some AEW content for next week's episode. Stay tuned on that. But we definitely wanted to ask Solomon what he thought about the setup for the AEW championship here. We will be getting Jon Moxley versus MJF at Full Gear for the AEW championship. Solomon, what do you think? Is it time
for MJF?
Ooh. Yeah.
Actually,
tell us
if they're gonna pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Ooh, okay.
This is what they should do. They should, having the match, and I think this is what they're going to do, because the money in the what? The chase.
That is true. That's where they do. The money's in the checks.
The money's in.
Oh, they said the money's in the checks. I was like, yes.
Also, the money is in the checks. So, they should have the firm cost MJF the match. He usually has this like gauntlet thing that he does in order for people to like get to face him in a match.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wrestles like 4 times a year, which is
the labors,
right?
Labors or whatever he calls them.
Yeah, right. This time they should have the labors like doing it on the reverse way. So MJF have to fight through all of the firm in order to gain a shot at Jon Moxley at the next
what, Double or Nothing?
Yeah, Double or Nothing. That's how they should do
it. Okay. For now, our list,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, for our listeners who don't know, who's in the firm?
Big. Well, they call him something different now. I think Morrissey.
Oh yeah, William Morrissey. Yeah, William aka Morrissey. Big Cass.
Cass. You can't teach him. 7 feet tall. You can't teach that. Okay. Let's see the guy.
The Gun Club.
Yeah, the Gun Club.
The Ass Boys.
The Ass Boys.
Lee Moriarty.
Yeah.
I think is Stokely Hathaway in the firm.
Hathaway over there.
Oh yeah. Oh okay. Yeah. Who Stokely had the great quote this week. The worst thing you can be is a dick rider with no license. Right.
I didn't know they could say that on TV.
He said it, and it was funny. There was one thing I took away from Dynamite on Wednesday, and that was that.
And of course, like the last member of the firm, by the way, Mari's favorite Page, Ethan Page, is also in the firm.
Ethan Page,
yeah, right, that's Mari's. That's your favorite Page.
That is not my favorite Page.
Diamond
How
Dallas.
dare you, Adam?
Hangman.
Oh, Hangman. Yes.
Okay, so top 3 pages.
What'd you say, Solomon?
I said the anxiety-ridden millennial cowboy.
Yes, the drunk.
The drunk.
The recovering drunk. Yes.
I was so shocked.
Cowboy shit.
I was so shocked when I heard that was just a gimmick. It's like, really? He's not actually an alcoholic? Come on.
So Full Gear is shaping up to, it looks like it's going to be a very, very interesting card. Like we said, Jon Moxley, the current AEW world champion, versus MJF. Ooh. We're also going to get the Acclaimed, the current tag champions, versus Swerve in Our Glory. Toni Storm, who is the interim AEW women's world champion, will be facing Jamie Hayter. Chris, you think that's going to be good, Solomon?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Chris Jericho, who is the current ROH world champion, will be going up against Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Sammy Guevara in a 4-way match. I think that's going to be very, very interesting.
For the ROH title?
For the ROH title.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a match.
That's a match, yeah. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal will be going up against Sting and Darby Allin in a tag team match. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, will be going up against Saraya in a singles match. So we did get a clip of Saraya, aka formerly known as Paige in WWE. She came out, gave a nice promo. Her promos are definitely coming back around now. I think she's finally finding her groove back here. Yeah. I mean, she's a little rusty.
Okay, here's what I'll say. She's a little rusty and the expectations were high. And even when they gave her a lot of crap around her return promo, it was good, really good for AEW. Not perfect. She knew it. They all knew it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But she is medically cleared, which we kind of assumed, and I guess it's not totally a shock, but they did really milk that one.
Yeah, she's saying she's medically cleared to wrestle. So,
Paige
sending protection vibes, I guess.
Wait, did you say Saraya?
Yeah, that's
it's Saraya. She corrects everybody every time. So whatever. No, you don't have to apologize to me, but I feel like every time someone messes it up, we have to hear the correction. So
I just hope Saraya is safe. I hope nothing happens to her in the ring. Like I hope she's good. She said she had medical professionals that cleared her. Okay. Let's avoid any kicks to the back, please.
no bumps.
That.
Let's just do no bumps.
No bumps.
No one wants to see that. Like, just as a quick aside, when Daniel Bryan came back in WWE and returned to his you don't want to see him bump. You didn't want to watch that for like the first several matches, and then you're like, you know what? I guess it's okay. I'm assuming
it's gonna be hard. Yeah,
I'm assuming she's been training and taking bumps and whatever. So I'm gonna assume that this will be okay, but I'm nervous.
Well, there's something else that for me is a more kind of pressing concern than Saraya. Is it Saraya or Saraya?
Saraya. That's what Matt says.
That's what she says.
Okay.
Then Saraya's kind of health situation, because I think they can kind of work around that, especially for like the style of AEW women is like one step below WWE women, which is 3 steps below like Stardom women.
Yeah.
Like if you're talking about people who are actually like striking and like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking more Stardom versus AEW. So if that be the case, except for when Athena wrestles, and I love her so much.
I was about to say,
she is
all the crap Athena got for wrestling like Stardom, and people thought she was going into business for herself.
Like,
it's great.
Thank you, Athena. You can beat me like that anytime. Just
scary.
The issue that they have is that Britt Baker takes up so much creative space. So if Britt Baker is not involved in it, it literally can't be a story. And so that kind of like all the women that they have there, they have Ruby Riott, even when oh wait a minute, who's the lady who she's one of my favorites, the Mexican wrestler.
Thunder Rosa.
Rosa was there, like it was still Britt Baker kind of occupying that space. And Britt Baker's great. She's amazing, right? She's a great talker, amazing personality. Her charisma is off the chains. But the women need more room, and they need some time away from the Britt Baker experience.
Yeah. So we'll see how it all goes. But I do like that I think people will knock it. And since we're talking about this, I just want to say, I do think it's ridiculous whenever anyone's territorial about the wrestling promotion. Like Paige Saraya, she came over from WWE. Like, what's she doing here? I think it's the most tired storyline. Like, she's been wrestling. She's been in wrestling, as she said, for her whole life. Wrestling for 17 years with that break, obviously, with the injury. And it's just like, you know what? Wrestle wherever you want. Don't give her crap for showing up and trying to work and do a job, give her the benefit of the doubt there. There are other things you could give her crap over, but I'm excited to see how the women's division develops, because I know that she is one of the pieces bringing more eyes to the division, and so every bit helps. And
it brings to mind one thing, and that the idea is that wrestlers should be able to take their name to whatever promotion that they want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Can't call them independent contractors and then not allow them to actually, like, if you came in, for example, Johnny Gargano needs to be able to be Johnny Gargano wherever he goes. WWE does not need to own that. The same thing is true of Pete Dunne. I'm not changing my name. You can use Pete Dunne in whatever, territory you go with. The same thing is true for Keith Lee. It's just true. Only the Bearcat foolishness, none of that. I understand where it came from. I understand why they try to do it. But in order from a marketing standpoint and a branding standpoint, it's not helpful for wrestlers to have to change their name, change their identity everywhere they go. She's paid in WWE. She made Paige. There was not another Paige before her. And I like her having the Rampage. She should be able to use the Rampage, wherever she goes, because again, this is more not about just WWE trying to kind of create this universe where no other wrestling company exists outside of them, but taking care of the boys and taking care of the girls outside of the company.
Exactly. We also get 3 women's matches on the card. That's what I'm most impressed by. Is we get Jade Cargill, who is the actual AEW TBS champion, versus Nyla Rose in for the championship that Nyla Rose was holding on to. I guess we can talk about it next week, but I'm very interested to see the outcome of that match.
Me too.
And then the final match, Luchasaurus versus Jungle Boy in a steel cage match to end their grudge. So looks like it's going to be a great card. Again, we're going to try and bring you some AEW coverage. We got some things in the works. If not, it's back to whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just stay tuned. Check us out next week.
We'll do what we do. Yes, and there's a lot coming up. So we have AEW Full Gear next week, which we're not going to cover it like we would a WWE Premium Live event, but we'll have our show next week, on Saturday when we record and release next weekend. So stay tuned for that, especially if you're not again, we'll see what happens. But if you're not caught up on AEW, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then you could actually watch the show and catch up. And then we'll have the following week, I want to say, is the Survivor Series preview. So then we're set to do our live reactions for Survivor Series that following Sunday. And then that following week, I think, is our season finale until we're back in January. So just letting people know we didn't want to leave you hanging. We know that some people might have abandonment issues, and we're just watching out for you.
Yep. And that is it for the highlights of the week in wrestling. Again, all of the highlights can be found in a very, very handy playlist in the show notes, show description, wherever you listen to the podcast, or if you are watching on the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube page. Solomon, thank you so much for coming back, giving your opinions. I love going back and forth with you. Where can the people find you?
All over the internet. I have my new website is up now, SolomonFury.com. So join me there. And we got some new stuff coming out.
Ooh, yes. Fun. Matt, how about you? What are you up to? Where can the people find you?
You could find me at Matt Scott GW on all the social media, especially, just like Twitter. While Twitter's alive, I'm there. Hit me up, follow me there. Again, as Mari always mentions, feel free to reach out if you want to be added to the Job Has a Squadcast group, or if you just love what we're doing. And of course, the offer still stands for the email and the drawing that I will do. So keeping an eye out for that. And also, Mari, and maybe you're going to plug this again, but there is the opportunity to become a Rob Has a Podcast patron, robhasawebsite.com/Patreon. And I mentioned that because I was recently on an episode of Survivor Academy, Chapter 2, talking about episodes 3 to 6 of the current season of Survivor, giving my advice of how I'd play. So that was a lot of fun. It's patron exclusive. So again, check that out, robhasawebsite.com/Patreon. And otherwise, I'd encourage people to catch up on Pod Friends, my other RHAP show that is currently off season, but coming back in the Survivor off season at some point, maybe in January, if not December. robhasawebsite.com/podfriends, because you could find great interviews with different people in RHAP. Mari was one of the first interviewees, and there are so many more to come. So subscribe, all the things. Mari, where could the people find you?
As always, you can find me on Twitter at Mari Talks Too Much. That's 2 like the number 2. Every week, me and Sarah Carradine bring you True Crime Tuesdays with the Crime Scene podcast. This past week, we did The Vatican Girl, Disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi. It's a Netflix docuseries. We covered it this week on Crime Scene. Coming up, we are doing a double feature where we will be talking about the film, The Good Nurse. And then we'll also be talking about the documentary series, Capturing the Killer Nurse, both on Netflix, both about Charlie Cullen, a nurse who in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, was killing patients. Yes.
By the way, West Orange, New Jersey, which is my hometown, I survived. I lived, but Charles Cullen, literally, he's a murderer. He didn't try to murder me. I'm not implying that he did, but being in the same town. I was the victim who survived. No, but yeah, scary story. I'm glad that you're covering it though too. Yes. I don't know much about the story personally, so I'm excited to listen.
It's a very, very interesting case about a killer nurse. Whew, very scary stuff. Trigger warning for medical trauma. But yes, you can listen to us by going to RHAPhasawebsite.com/crime feed and subscribing wherever you listen to your podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Crime Scene RHAP. That's at Crime SEEN RHAP. And we're on TikTok because, I mean, if you're not true criming on TikTok, then what are you doing? And you can follow us on TikTok at crime.scene. Again, that's at crime.SEEN to follow us. So yeah, nice. We will be dropping the final episode of Atlanta season 4, the series finale. Me, Latanya Starks, and Chappelle are, hanging up our Atlanta caps. The Aaron and the gang are done, and we are going to be giving all of our thoughts over on Post Show Recaps. You can go to postshowrecaps.com/Atlanta to subscribe and listen to us talk about the series finale. Great series finale. Great way to end the show.
I don't want to be spoiled, but I will let you know, Mari, that I have been binge watching Atlanta. So I'm like almost done with season 2. Binge watching like season 2 this week. So I'm going to finish it. I'm going to finish season 3. Wait, is season 3 the last season?
No, you got to go to season 4.
I thought so. So I'll get there, but I'm excited to listen to you all cover it and to cry along the way.
Yes, it'll always be there. That's a great thing. Take your time with the series, but come back and listen to our wonderful takes. It was such a great, we had such a great time, me, Latanya, and Chappelle, covering these last 2 seasons of Atlanta. We definitely were breaking it down. So go check that out. Other than that, please rate, review, and subscribe to the Wrestling RHAPup podcast by going to RHAPhasawebsite.com/wrestling feed. Again, send us your ratings, please. 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars only. We will read your reviews on the episode. Of course, like we said, you can email us at wrestling@RHAPhasawebsite.com. Tweet us at Wrestling RHAPup, Wrestling RHAPUP, and use hashtag Wrestling RHAPup. So for me, Matt, and Solomon, remember, wrestling is for everybody, but not all wrestling is for everyone. Have a great day. Bye.
Up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling liver half up's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like The Rock cause I'm driving in Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party. Moolah Ric Flair, showing out like Bianca, Belair, Best podcast, flush it in the air, From the rings and we win it, don't care, No cap. Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling liver half up's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like The Rock cause I'm driving in Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party.